Hey guys, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So today for you, we're doing our Beelzemon X deck profile for BT12. This is the deck I'm probably the most hyped for. The deck I expect to do the best with in the format currently until like maybe something gets developed that really counters this deck. But until then, I think this is going to be my go-to if we're talking regionals or anything like that I'm really desperately trying to win or do exceptionally well at. This will probably be the deck I go with. And so far, through all testing, I have not needed to make a single change with this deck. I have been beyond happy with it. Probably one of the few times I've ever been like, there's, I got to change this, I got to change that. And this is the first time I'm like, no, this list is solid. Through testing and everything like that, I haven't made a single change because nothing feels bad. Everything in this list feels great. The ratios feel incredible. Very, very happy with this. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. Don't forget this month's featured memory marker is Beelzemon, though. So if you are a Ghost Game fan or a Angoromon fan, this is going to be a great one to pick up. This is handmade out of clay by my wife, Digimon. Super, super adorable. Got great texture on the clay there. Hand painted as well there on that face. This is our featured memory marker for our Patreon rewards, as well as you can find this on her Etsy page. Link in the description below for that. Also, if you haven't got any of the other Ghost Game ones, she has a deal going on right now that gives you where you can get all three memory markers, this one, Gurumon, and Poyomon, all in one package deal for a discounted rate. So go check that out. Also, there you can find all of her other previous memory markers that she made. You can buy them all individually, or she has combo deals depending on if they go together, like for Tamers and things like that. You can find discounts if you buy any of her bundles. So really cool that she's got bundles available now. All right, so I've got the deck pulled up for you guys so you can follow along with me, so that way everything makes sense as we go through it. You'll notice we are 2 cards over here, and that is just some talking points here at the end that I want to discuss, because technically the deck has one flex spot in it that you can just kind of run whatever. I'm running the Beelzemon EX2 one here at the end as my flex spot, and yes, I am a pretty advocate on this is not a deck that this isn't a control deck. This isn't anything like that. This is basically, this is an OTK deck. That's what this really is. It's an OTK deck that you get to trash a ton of your opponent's security without actually checking them. The idea is to get to 20 in trash as fast as possible. 30 is even better, but 20 is where you at least need to be for the sweet spot, I would say. So let's go ahead and do this card by card. There's a whole lot going on here that may not seem obvious, and there's also some stuff in here that is a little bit janky that you might not normally expect. I do want to move this card. This is an after talking point there. All right, so first up, we got Yaomon. 4 Yaomon as our babies. This deck is fast. You don't need 5 eggs. This isn't a grindy deck. You'll never use all 4 eggs, basically, because you're going to deck out long before you ever need more than 4 babies. So you either win or lose by the time you get to your probably your 3rd egg. By the time you get to that point, you're at the point where you're about to win or you're about to lose. That's really all there is to it. So when attacking, if you have a wizard or demon lord, you're going to trash 2 cards. There is also the when attacking, I think it's the Pagumon that mills 1. You can use that in conjunction with your Impmons, but really I've always pretty much evoed on top of my Impmons. So I've never really, one time out of all the games I played, one single attack I couldn't mill on, but every other time that the 2 has been great. And I don't want the on deletion one either, because nothing we run in here is on deletion effects. We're not running the original Impmon on deletion or anything like that, so you don't need any of those on deletion Pagumons. I don't think the when attacking is perfect. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents there on the on deletion Pagumon. It is also a mill 2, but it's not needed. You don't need to lose your stack. This isn't a crash my stack and get value off of it sort of deck. This is very much a, if I can evo all the way up into a mega, I will absolutely do so, and I'll get incredible value for it. So first up, we got Antibody X. This could also have gone at the end, but on play and when digivolving, by trashing one option card from your hand, you may return one Digimon card with Evil, Wizard, Demon Lord, and its traits from your trash to your hand. It's just a great recycling ability. Pretty solid card. It's also really nice just for that 0 Evo on top of another Impmon is really great for that extra little bit of draw, as well as this inheritable of when attacking, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. It's a great mill inheritable. The inheritable on it is really good. We got the EX2 one, which you should all know why this card's in here. This is a 100% one of your best mills you can hit in your entire deck. When you hit it, you can trash 3 more, as long as you don't hit it off of another one of these trash effects. So pretty good there. On play as a searcher, you can add top 4, add a Beelzemon in its name, so you can add your Beelzemon X off of this, or your blast modes. So that nice little bit of genericness is really nice. It's not just a Beelzemon, so that's good. And one Iron Mako, and Iron Mako is really powerful in this deck, so being able to grab one of those as well. So this is a fantastic searcher for this deck. Literally the best searcher we have in the entire deck, because it can add any of our Beelzemons and an Iron Mako. And then the inheritable here isn't too bad either, giving a plus 3k to a Beelzemon in the name. Again, in the name is really crucial. Like I said, this is an OTK deck. A big part of it is to swing with your megas. You're going to trash with the X Antibody, like we'll discuss in a little bit. But typically, you still need to do 1 to 2 more checks after that. So it's really imperative that this 12k here on these guys, gets boosted a little bit. It doesn't take a lot. I mean, once you hit 15,000-16,000, you're pretty much golden after that. Next is the new starter deck 14 Impmon. This thing is awesome. This is a just absolute game ender. If you saw our feature match earlier this week, you saw this guy go straight, the win attacking. If you have 20 or more cards in trash, this Digimon can digivolve into Beelzemon from your trash for a digivolution cost of 3, ignoring its digivolution requirements. So swing with this guy, Evo into a Beelzemon for 3, and then Beelzemon's when digivolving effect will gain you memory back, so at least gain you 2 memory back, because if you have to have 20 cards, and he gains you 1 memory for every 10 in trash, that's 2, maybe 3, maybe more. If it gains you even more, that's better. So Evo into a Mega for free, and then just spawn even more abilities, and then inheritable, your turn once per turn. When a card is trashed from your deck, delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. So you digivolve into this guy. Beelzemon's when digivolving mills 4 cards, and that'll immediately trigger this Impmon. And pretty much everything that digivolves on top of him in this deck mills. So you're going to be able to trigger this thing every single turn. Really good card. Absolutely my favorite Impmon in the deck. Next to the EX2. EX2 is also good, but both of these Impmons just absolutely a must-have. 4 of both of these. I don't care what version you're playing, you're going to run 4 of both of these. If you value winning, you will run 4 of these, each of these guys. Next is our level 4 lineup, which you notice I will just jump down here. We are running the Witchmon here. So when digivolving, trash the top 3 cards of your deck. I saw a few people were running Dobermon, but you have to crash it and lose that stack, and I just don't value losing the stack. I'd rather just digivolve into this, get my 3 mills, and call it a day. I don't need to cycle anything out of the trash, because I have tons of other ways that cycle things out of the trash that I need. So I don't need that Dobermon effect. And then this also gives another 2k buff, which is nice for those OTK strategies. Jumping back over here to the beginning, though, we got Wizardmon X Antibody, 0 Evo on top of another Wizardmon. I will say most of the time this doesn't matter. Really, like 9 times out of 10, you just digivolve this guy on top of one of your Impmons, and then use the when digivolving, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. So Evo for 2, trash 2, good stuff. Has the inheritable of when attacking, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. So more mills as an inheritable, which is really good. The DP buff is solid, but you don't need a ton of it. Okay, you just need like 1 card, maybe 2 in the Evo chain that gives a DP buff, and you're good after that. You don't need every single card in your Evo chain giving you a DP buff. So this one's really nice to shake things up, giving that mill. But if worst comes to worst, if you do have to Evo this guy on top of a Wizardmon, or if you slide the X Antibody option under your stack, instead of the mills, you gain a blocker. So until the end of the opponent's turn. Not the best, so you usually don't want to Digivolve this guy. And keep that in mind. Trash the top 2 cards of your deck. If this Digimon has Wizardmon or X Antibody and Sigilation cards, this Digimon gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn instead. So it's meaning instead of the mills, you get the blocker effect. So don't Digivolve this guy on top of Wizardmon. Like 9 times out of 10, you'll never want to Digivolve this on top of Wizardmon. But speaking of Wizardmon, you really don't ever want to Digivolve this Wizardmon. This is purely saved for milling out of your deck. If you draw it into your hand, you're going to use your Iron Mako like every single time. You're going to use your Iron Mako to put this guy right back on top of the deck. So when you mill it, you gain a memory. Okay? And that is really, truly the best part of this guy is the mill ability. He does have a cool inheritable, though. When attacking, you may reveal 1 purple card from your hand and place it to the top of your deck. So you could, in theory, do the same Iron Mako trick with him as an inheritable. Use his inheritable and place something there, and then use, one of your other mill effects here. So you've got multiple mill effects, when attacking mill effects, that can then trigger this guy's inheritable. So I will say that if you do have to Digivolve this guy, it is not a complete waste, because his inheritable is very, very good. And we already went over the Witchmon. I love this level 4 lineup. The reason the numbers look a little weird is we're running 10, but the way I see it is I'm running 6 level 4s that actually Digivolve. These 4 Wizardmon here, they're purely in here as like a tech in the deck to combine with like our Iron Makos, or just to mill out of our deck. That is all these guys are for. If I'm using a search card, I'm going to bottom deck these guys, and so when I get to that end game and I start milling like crazy, I'm going to hit so many Wizardmons that I'm going to gain so much memory back. So that's what these guys are in here for. So really, it's 12 rookies that are evoing, and then 6 level 4s that are evoing, and then we've got 6 level 5s that are evoing, and then only 3 megas that are evoing on top of our level 5s. Okay, so that's why I went with this lower count of level 5s here, and then I added in the 2 Witchmons to go with the Wizardmon X Antibodies as our actual things that we actually Digivolve on top of our rookies. Okay. Moving on to our level 5s. When Digivolving, trash the top 3 cards of your deck. Cool. More mills. Love it. Absolutely love it. This card gains on deletion if there are 10 or more cards in your trash. You may play 1 Beelzemon from your trash without paying the cost until the end of your opponent's turn. So that's really good. Yeah. Keep in mind, though, the when Digivolving here, he gains this on deletion effect if there's not 10 cards in the trash yet. So if at any point that he does die, after he's evoed, if there are 10 cards in trash, he will get that ability of being able to play the Beelzemon out. Super solid card. Really like this guy. Now, this one is specifically Beelzemon, so you can't play Beelzemon X, you can't play Blast Mode, anything like that. It has to be specifically Beelzemon, but that's okay. Really, we like this as it's a level 5 that mills 3. So that's really cool. 3 Evo, mill 3 cards, great. It gives a 2k buff if we need the 2k buff. This is probably the best source to get that 2k buff, I would say, most of the time. The most reliable way. But he also combos great with this guy, Belmont X, who this is your way of getting your X Antibody out of trash that you no doubt have milled at some point. When Digivolving, return 1 X Antibody from your trash to your hand. You don't have to Digivolve this guy on top of another Belmont to get that effect. You can go right on top of level 4 and be able to grab that X Antibody back. Very important. And then when Digivolving, trash the top 3 cards of your deck. cool. If it has, so you get that automatically, but if it has Belmont or X Antibody in the Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon instead. So that's cool. I like the diversity there. Also, you can pick the order here. So you go when Digivolving, trash the top 3 cards of your deck. Especially if you say, oh, I don't have an X Antibody in there. Okay, well, when Digivolving, trash 3. Oh, look, I milled perfectly an X Antibody option, and now I use the other effect to grab it out of trash. So just make sure you order these cards correctly in their the timing on their abilities. And another 2k buff. So your level 5s are going to be basically your guaranteed way to get that little bit of a DP buff. So you don't have to rely on any of these lower level ones necessarily. Like I said, this other Impmon down here that gives a 3k buff, mainly you're going to use him for your mills. You're going to use like your Iron Mako to stack him on top of the deck to get you more mills from your hand, things like that. So, but yeah, fantastic level 5s, perfect for the deck. Mill 3 on both of them. Really good stuff. You don't have to like go Belmont X on top of Belmont to get all of your good abilities. I love that about that. It's nice to see an X Antibody that doesn't have to go on top of another one to get the good stuff. So really cool. Really cool. I love these guys. All right, moving on to our Megas here. I do need to swap these around. I don't know why I reversed them. So we have 6 Megas that are going to Digivolve on top of our level 5s. That's going to be these 3 Beelzemon that we're running in the deck. You really only ever want to evo this guy on top of another Beelzemon, like 9 times out of 10. Unless you have the X Antibody option, but really want to just get that 1 evo cost, because that 4 is really up there. 1 evo cost on top of this guy right here, because what's great about him is when you evo into him, you're going to gain a ton of memory back, so it's way more efficient to evo this guy for 1 or for free, and then go into the Beelzemon X for 1 on top of him. So just more efficient. When Digivolving, trash top 4 cards of your deck. Really solid. All turns, once per turn, when a card is trashed from your deck, gain 1 memory for every 10 cards in trash. So talking about earlier with the Impmon, evo into this guy for 3, mill 4, gain 2, maybe more back. It's got to be a minimum of 2 because you have to have 20 in trash to do that warp Digivolve. But yeah, super good there. Your turn, once per turn, when a card is trashed from your deck, this Digimon gains security attack +1 for the turn. What I like about this also is the way that this deck operates of, say he swings, you get your 2 security checks, because, you evo that first turn, he's going to get his security attack +1 from his own mill effect. Next turn, you swing with him again. You're going to use one of your inheritables here that's going to mill 2 more cards, and boom, you just get this security attack +1 again. So you always have a way to feed him his security attack +1 every single round. That's fantastic there. He's a solid card. He is a solid Mega on his own. Like right now, playing him in BT11 doesn't feel bad because he's a really strong Beelzemon. But Beelzemon X here, incredibly strong card. So 1 evo on top of your other Beelzemon. That's where you want to do every single time when Digivolving. What I like about this is it's not when attacking, it's when Digivolving. If this Digimon has Beelzemon or X Antibody in its Digivolution cards, for every 10 in your trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. This is so good. So you're gonna be able to mill 2 out of your opponent's security, maybe 3, 4. 4 is really rare. 5 is impossible. Remember that, guys. 5 is impossible. You have 50 cards in your deck. If he's on your field, then in theory you don't have 50 cards in your trash. So at most you'll get 4, but that's okay. The idea is to try to at least get 30 in trash. So you're going to mill 3 out of security with him, and then get those last 2 checks off that security attack +1 from the Beelzemon here. So you go into Beelzemon, get that security attack +1, go into your Beelzemon X, mill 3 out of security, and then hit for 2. So that's your big strategy there for the deck. That's how you clear. Basically, you beat your opponent. Is that exact situation? Is get 30 in trash, and basically then you push for game. Mill 3, hit for 2, and then you're going to go blast mode to unsuspend and swing for game. And then for whatever chance, if he does get deleted, whether he dies in security or you can't quite get that, you don't have the blast mode for game, whatever the case may be, on deletion, you may play one Digimon card with Int1 in its name from your trash without playing its memory cost. That's good because that's a finisher. Your opponent tries to clear this guy off the field. He's like, oh crap, you've got nothing in raising area. This is your only thing on field. Next turn, if you swing with him, I lose. Okay, well, I'll clear him. Well, I just get my body right back. I get another body on field to replace him that I can attack for game with. So that's really great that he keeps a finisher around. Moving on, we got Blast Mode. This is basically the Beelzemon's version of Blitz Omnimon. Not quite the same, okay? When this card is trash from your deck, delete one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon for every 10 cards in trash. Increase the level you can choose by 1. That's really cool. So you can pop some good stuff here with this guy. Potentially, gotta catch my breath, talking a lot. When Digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon. Cool. Just when Digivolving, I could immediately unsuspend it. If you have 2 or more, move my mouse. If you have 20 or more cards in your trash, gain 3 memory. So it's not gain 1 memory for every 10. It's just if you got 20, you're golden. That's what I was talking about earlier with the Intmon, the Warp Intmon. You need to be at 20. Okay, so basically the primo spot is to hit 20 cards in trash, but the perfect thing is to have 30 in trash. 30 will get you those 3 mils with the Beelzemon X here. But if say you got an early game chip damage in, you just crashed something because you bricked a little bit, you didn't have your next Evo, to go on top of your Intmon, just crash that Intmon there, start over with a fresh stack next turn, and then you've already done 1 damage, your opponent's at 4, then you can go into and do your whole combo with only 20 cards in trash rather than needing that full 30. And you get all of your great effects after that. And so yeah, I just absolutely love this deck. Super good. Yeah, just an incredible powerhouse. Tons of cycling, got good board control with our mills and things like that. Moving on, 7th Full Cluster. This is out of BT12. It has a trash effect, so if it's in your trash, your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into Beelzemon X Antibody, by returning this card from your trash to the bottom of your deck, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. If you've got multiple 7th Full Cluster in there, you can just keep, bottom deck another one. So I'm running 2 here, so at most I can delete 2 things on my opponent's field. This is a great way to clear blockers out of your way. Blockers really hamper this deck. Now we do have multiple ways to clear blockers, which is great, but this is another good way to do it, just to get rid, because most blockers are going to be pretty low level, and being able to hit them multiple times, especially if it's something like, say, Machine Dramon that can just keep staying alive. So let me hit it with 2 7th Full Clusters and whatever other deletion effects that I have. Really strong card. And then if you play it from hand, it's a 7 cost, delete one of your opponent's Digimon at the lowest level. So same thing there, 7 play cost, delete the lowest level. Yeah. So pretty solid. Basically, this is like, Happy Bullet Showering, the red option from Musketeers. Yeah. So new version of it, basically. So cool stuff. Death Slinger, I love this card. I'm so happy to be able to run it. So this is a 4 play cost. Main, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon for every 10 cards in your trash. Add 1 to the maximum level that you can choose with this. This card came out in EX2. The big issue with it during that time was Mother D Reaper was in the meta and has no levels. And that hurt this deck so much during EX2, just absolutely shut it down, never gave it a chance. But now that Mother D Reaper is kind of out of the mix and pretty much long gone, Death Slinger can come back and be very formidable. Getting 10 cards in your trash by turn 2 is super easy because of all of our abilities and things like that. So then we can play this card for 4, pop a level 5 or lower, and then by mid-game, this thing is a 4 play cost, level 7 deletion machine, okay? This thing is so good. I love this 4 play cost, so fantastic. And then starting at level 4 for the deletion is super solid, because that's where a lot of blockers sit. So being able to clear off stuff, and even if you just need to clear something cheap, that's what I also like about it. It's a cheap play cost, so I don't feel bad. It's like, oh, let me pop this memory blocker or whatever. You know, I can go ahead and pop that with this Death Slinger, and it's only 4 play cost. I don't feel too bad about it. But the even better part is when this card is trashed from your deck, gain 1 memory. So it's another great target, just like Wizardmon, to use with your Eye and Mako. Put this on top of your deck, and then immediately mill it and gain a memory. That's why we run 4 of this. It's not just because it's a cool, nice, solid removal option. It's because it's also an insanely good mill target, whether you just hit it on a blind mill, or you set it up with your Eye and Mako, or your other Wizardmon inheritable. It's got multiple uses, insanely powerful uses. Rivals Barrage. When this card is trashed from your deck, you may place it in the battle area. So if you mill it from the deck, it goes delay. Now, when you play it from hand, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level. It doesn't delay after you play it from hand. It only gets the delay effect if it's milled from the deck. Okay, a lot of people have been misplaying this, and it started a lot of fights in a lot of places. But yes, you only get to place it in the battle area if it gets milled from the deck. If you hard play it from your hand for 7, it goes straight to the trash. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level. Cool, I don't mind that. That's a solid. If I'm going to play a 7 cost removal option, it's probably going to be to kill whatever big thing my opponent has anyway, so that's okay. It's a cool card. And then the delay effect, you can return one of your purple Digimon or Tamer card from your trash to your hand. This is great for those in games. Don't pop this card too soon. If you have it delayed in your battle area, don't use it too soon. Wait until you know exactly what you need. Okay, I'm a big fan of saving it for using it for like level 6s and 7s. If you mill your Beelzemon Blast Mode, you know, this is going to be one of the best ways to get it back. Okay, so Rivals Barrage. Save it for your big stuff. Don't save it. It's like, oh, I bricked a little bit. I don't have a level 4. Well, let me pop this Rivals Barrage and grab this Wizardmon that I milled and then Evo my Wizardmon. Don't. You got time. You can wait out a little bit there. Save this for the important stuff. All right, X Antibody option. Security, you gain a memory if it gets hit, and then you add it to your hand. Main, place this card under one of your Digimon without an X Antibody option under it already as the bottom of the Distribution card. Mainly, it's for this part right here. You can't trash it either, which is kind of relevant for some blue decks. When attacking, if this Digimon can Digivolve into a Digimon... When attacking, this Digimon can Digivolve into a Digimon card with X Antibody and its traits in your hand for its Digivolution cost. All right, you guys ready for the combo tutorial? It's right here. So whether you're going with this guy here, there's a couple different routes. You can, either way, the idea is to get into this Beelzemon here. I'm a big fan of this one right here. Impmon, when attacking, if you have 20 more cards, you can Digivolve into Beelzemon for cost of 3. So Digivolve into this Beelzemon for 3. You're going to use his ability here to gain memory back, at least gaining back 2, maybe 3. And that's a when Digivolving, trash the top 4 cards of your deck. So you're going to immediately trash. You're going to use his when Digivolving effects here. Get the security attack +1. All right. Now after we resolve this Impmon to when attacking, we're going to use our X Antibody when attacking inheritable here to Digivolve our Beelzemon here into Beelzemon X mid-attack. We haven't done any security checks or anything like that yet. So swing with the Impmon evos into Beelzemon, and then Beelzemon evos into X Antibody. Yes, you're doing a double evo before you even hit. That's really nice. When Digivolving, if this card has Beelzemon or X Antibody in its Digivolution cards, which should be likely, for every 10 cards in your trash, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So now you're going to trash 2 cards out of your opponent's security stack, minimum, maybe 3. Again, the ideal is to have 30 in trash, and then do this combo, mill 3, and then you've played out all your abilities, and then the checks go through. You got security attack +1 from that Beelzemon. Boom, boom, double check. and you've gained so you evoed in this guy for 1 afterwards, and you can do that in mid-attack. So if it passes turn, it's okay. If you've got the memory, so if this guy gained you enough memory back, say you started your turn at like 2 or 3, then you can go blast mode, evo this guy, he unsuspends, you gain 3 memory back. So evo in this guy for 1, unsuspend, swing for game. That's the ideal shenanigans that you can do because of the X antibody option. Super strong card, absolutely strong. You could also, if you don't have the X antibody option, if you evo into this guy mid attack, you get your double checks, he survives, then you evo into the Beelzemon X for 1, he does his mills, and then you evo into your blast mode. You can do all those things without the X antibody option. The only thing that I like about the X antibody option, and we only run it as 2 of, is that I go into the Beelzemon X, and the mills and the security mills happen before the checks. Because if you die on those checks, then you can't go Beelzemon X on top of your Beelzemon and get those mills, okay, off the security. You can't trash the security. Sorry, I keep getting my words intertwined, mills and trash of security. So it's better to go into this guy first and get the 3 trashes off security, and then check the security afterwards. All right. Next is Iron Mako. We've talked about them a ton. This video is super long. On play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 Digimon card of Evil, Wizard, or Demon Lord trait among them to your hand. Place the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order. So it's a nice little searcher. But the main part here is your turn. When one of your Digimon digivolves into a purple Digimon, by suspending this Tamer, return 1 card from your hand on top of your deck to gain 1 memory. So digivolve into a purple Digimon, suspend them, place a card on top of your deck, gain a memory. Okay, the big targets we've talked about: Wizardmon, EX2 Impmon, Deathslinger. Those are going to be your big ones there. Even your 7th Full Cluster or Rivals Barrages are other choices that you can go with. I really like the double memory though. Iron Mako, gain a memory, put a Wizardmon. Wizardmon gets milled, gain a memory off of that. So strong. You can have some really powerful extended turns with those combinations there. Now, the last spot in the deck is a flex spot. I'm currently running the EX2 Beelzemon for a couple reasons. One, I have the alt art that I pulled when the set came out. That is fabulous. It is so cool looking. I run it almost just because of that. It's also not a bad one, mainly just for the mill. If you really need to time it out right with the Iron Mako, place this guy on top of the deck. He gets milled. You can play an Impmon from your trash without paying its memory cost. You're going to get your on-play effects. So if you go this Impmon, you can search. If you go with this Impmon, you can get its on-play as well, if it really matters that much. There's multiple things you can do, as well as get this one for those mid games, and then you can go full combo on the next turn with it. So he's just kind of nice in here as a tech when needed, if I just need to get another body on field for whatever reason there is. That's all this Beelzemon is for. Also, everyone out there that got all their winter ones, and they want to show off that they got a winter Beelzemon, he's a great flex spot just for the flex. Literally a flex spot for a flex is what's so great about this. But I do want to talk about 2 other cards here that I thought were pretty interesting. The Beelstar, I saw this put in some good work in my locals last week. So when you would play this card from your hand, reduce the play cost by 4 for every 10 cards in your trash. You can really get this thing pretty cheap. 5 play cost Beelstar is possible. 1 play cost even better. All turns, when a card is trashed from your deck, you may play an Impmon from your trash without paying its cost, and it gains a rush, and you get your on-play effects as well. So playing out an Impmon for free and it gets rush, that feels really strong. And then opponent's turn, when an opponent's Digimon attacks, trash the top card of your deck. So, and this is an all turns, so you're going to immediately get this to trigger. So your opponent attacks, you play out that Impmon, so now you got an Impmon to attack with and a Beelstar to attack with on the next turn. It's just a super solid card. I think it's a really if you want to run it as a one of, I totally wouldn't mind, because it's a really good late game piece. If I can play her out for 1 memory, and then I can mill a card and get a Impmon out with rush, Yeah, okay, absolutely. I'm going to play an Itmon for 1 memory with Rush. That's basically what I see whenever I read this. So, pretty cool. One of their. And then you're also playing Beelstar with Beelzemon. So, that's really cool. It just feels really awesome to be able to do that. I'm a big fan of it just for the thematicness of it. So, if you don't want to flex, uh, go with the Beelstar, okay? And then I saw this in one of, I believe it was Mexico's Ultimate Cup. They were allowed to use the Beelzemon deck as it was for that format. But I thought I'd go ahead and throw this in here. They were running it at a 4 of in that format. Now again, that's without Beelzemon X and all these other really fun cards. But it's a pretty cool filler. Trash top 3 cards of your deck. That's it. You don't even have to worry about the rest of it. It's a 1 play cost. Trash top 3 cards of your deck. Okay. Interesting. I just thought it was at least worth mentioning. I think we've got plenty of other things in here to work with. I personally won't run this card, but I did want to at least mention it. I thought it was a really cool tech. Either the Beelzemon or the Beelstar is what I would personally do. And right now I'm just running the Beelzemon because I've got that alt art, and the alt art looks good, and I like to flex with it. And that's literally it. And that is the total of the deck. You don't even need the last card. Everything just flows. Everything works perfectly. Everything's in tandem. Everyone's in synergy. Fantastic deck. I wouldn't change anything in it. Literally, I don't. I guess I that's not true. I would change the last card to something else, maybe if I felt like it, but there's no need to it. So the deck runs on these 49 cards perfectly, absolutely perfectly. No complaints. Love this deck. Feels so good.